Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say, Call Halal Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai Ba'ashim Rakah HaKudash. And double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us his truth and rule well. And Shalom to the hopeful elect, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai Ba'ashim Rakah HaKudash Barakatam. It's Brother Kazar from the Minival 12 West Coast, coming back at it again with another lesson. And the title of this lesson is going to be, The Earth Shall Shake. All right, now I was meditating on this, yesterday, so I set this aside for today to do a lesson on it. All right, and it's the destructive power of the ICBM thermonuclear missiles. All right, and the terror that's going to be upon the world when Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, unleashes these weapons for his purpose, for his judgment. All right, and I was primarily meditating upon the scripture, it says the earth shall wield to and fro as a drunkard, which that's going to be one of the scriptures we're going to be, going into, and to further manifest that, I looked up an article titled "The Tsar Bomba" from the Atomic Heritage Foundation. All right, now the Tsar Bomba was one of the largest nuclear bombs that was ever detonated by the Russians, and I remember I saw in a documentary years back that the blast was so strong that it sent a earthquake basically all around the world. All right, this one bomb, all right, this one detonation sent a shockwave around the world multiple times. Now I couldn't find the actual documentary, that stated that, but I found this article that states the same thing. All right, so if you want to read into the history of the Tsar Bomba, here's the article. All right, but we're gonna go straight to the point. All right, we're gonna go to the aftermath, where it says all of the wooden and brick buildings in nearby Severny, located 34 miles from the aiming point or ground zero, were annihilated. All right, so 34 miles is quite a distance. Okay, and it says were annihilated. All right. In other wooden districts, like in other Soviet districts located over 100 miles from ground zero, wooden houses were demolished and brick and stone ones suffered damages. All right, so this is probably something that affected the actual people, out there in the Soviet Union, really, Russia, Gog and Magog, the bear that's coming back in reincarnation. All right. This is another one, so I could continue on reading, and it reads, radio communication outages were also reported. One test witness felt the thermal effects at a distance of 170 miles away. Okay, even with dark goggles. Wow. The intense heat from the detonation was capable of causing third-degree burns at a distance of 62 miles from ground zero. All right, so third-degree burns, 62 miles away. That's from San Bernardino all the way to Los Angeles. For brothers who, live out here in the West Coast, in this area. It continues on and it says the shock wave was felt as far away as the Dixon settlement, located 430 miles away. All right, and windows shattered at a distance of 560 miles. Okay. So now we're talking, big distances, intercontinental distances. All right, windows even shattered as far away as Norway and Finland due to atmospheric focusing of the shockwave. Despite being an airburst detonated 1,300 feet above ground, the Tsar bomb's seismic magnitude was estimated at 5 to 5.25. Seismic sensors continue to register shockwaves even after a third revolution around the world. So meaning that the shock wave of this bomb that was detonated above ground, all right, went around the earth 3 times. Okay, now it starts to make sense that when these nuclear bombs hit Babylon, the earth is going to reel to and fro as a drunkard. All right, because as I said, despite being an airburst detonated 13,000 feet above ground, so the bomb was actually detonated above the ground. Okay, it was detonated 13,000 feet above the ground. It was blown up in the air. You know, could only imagine what the effects would be if it was blown up in the ground, on the ground. How big the shockwave would have been. You know, who would have felt it? You know, it's definitely something that would have been felt across the world. And this is just one detonation. All right, this is one detonation. Okay, and they're gonna hit the scripture. All right, so like we're gonna keep this on. All right, just need to go back to it. 200,000. All right, and we're gonna go into the book of Revelations, chapter 9, verse 16. Okay, and let's get the surrounding parts of it. All right, so book of Revelations chapter 9, I'm going to start at verse 15. And it reads, the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year for to slay the third part of men. All right, now this is going into the second death, that judgment. All right, which is Babylon being destroyed by the ICBM thermonuclear missiles. All right, and the reason the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. All right, so 200,000, that's 200 million. So we're talking about 200 million detonations. All right, now granted, they're not going to be, as strong as the Tsar Bomba, that was blown up. They might be even stronger than that. All right, considering how, technology has advances. This was detonated in the 1950s, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Let me see the design. It's like in 1961. So it was within the arms race. This might have been the last bomb to be, detonated too. It's like the other nations were like, all right, man, you got it. You got the most powerful nuke. You know what I'm saying? But that's, prophecy. That's the Yahweh Shemel Shai creating the Smith and the Waster, to destroy. So continuing on, all right, or rereading again this verse. All right, Salakia, in the book of Revelations chapter 9. Let's just go out on it with the app. All right, so Revelations chapter 9 and 16. All right, it said, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. So these are 200,000. It's like 200 million nuclear bombs that's going to hit Babylon. All right, that's going to be deployed. All right, when that time comes. Okay, and ultimately, you know what I'm saying? Another thing too, all right, is the horsemen. That's just parable for the nuclear bombs. All right, just like it is written of in the book of let me see if I'm not mistaken, the book of Joel. No, it's not the book of Joel. All right, it's the book of the book of Joel chapter 2. All right, this is where it's at. All right, where we're gonna go into the key point. I'm gonna start at verse 3. All right, going into the day of Yahweh Shemel Shai, and going into that judgment. All right, it reads, a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. All right. And the land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Okay, so that basically means that when they arrive, they're going to leave a desolate wilderness. They're going to destroy everything. All right. And it reads, yeah, and nothing shall escape them. All right. The appearance of them is as appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run, because horses are represented by the speed. Okay. That's what they're represented by, speed. All right. So that, going back into Revelations chapter 9. All right, chapter 9 and 16. All right, when it talks about these horsemen and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. All right, that's going into the number of these ICBM missiles. All right, these nukes that's going to be deployed. Okay, so going back to Joel chapter 2, because a little bit more on that. All right, and it reads, verse 5, like noise of chariots on the top of mountains shall they leap, like noise of a flame of fire that devoureth stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Okay, because ultimately, it's a parable, used for them, for the missiles, as if it was, their own army, and that's because of the order and the technology that is being utilized, behind these missiles. They're basically as their own army. Each and every one has their own, destination. Each and every one has their own pace and their own order as to where they're going to hit, how they're going to, be deployed. So it makes sense that, the scriptures compare them as such. All right, and it reads like, it's like before their face, the people shall be much pained, all faces gathered together in blackness. And they shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like the men of war. Okay, and this is going into, how these missiles are going to escape and basically go through, all right, all these defense system that Babylon has set up, in order to try to ward off any attacks. All right, because, like it says, they shall climb a wall like men of war. A wall is a defense system that's put up to stop anything from invading, to stop an invading force. So these missiles being an invading force and the target being, Babylon, all right, they're going to hop over these defensive systems. Okay, and it reads, and they shall march everyone on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. You see, because that's the organization and the order and the technology that enables these missiles to move as such. All right. It says, neither shall one thrust one another. They shall walk everyone in his own path. So like everyone in his path. And when they shall fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. And they shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up on houses, and they shall enter in at the windows like a thief. You see? So they're going to evade and outmaneuver all these defense systems. All right? Because it's going to be the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai that's going to be on these missiles. All right? And it reads that the earth shall quake before them, and the heavens shall tremble, and the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Okay, so as it reads right there is another, reference to the effects of these missiles. All right, it says the earth shall quake before them. All right, and that's going into the nuclear blasts. Okay, just to further, solidify this. All right, now we have the Russian Satan 2 missile. All right, and let me see. It's the Sarmat missile. All right, it's a very, sophisticated, missile. And let's go into the megatons. All right, the destructive power of this missile. All right, now we're going to, we're going to, go into the destructive force of this. So, let me see. Just gonna skim through this article. and we're gonna get straight to the point. All right, so 36. All right, because this missile has the destructive force to wipe out, the state of Texas, basically. All right, now let me see. All right, so going into this this paragraph, it says, comparing the silo-based rockets alone, the new Russian rocket looks formidable. It can launch a maximum payload with a yield of roughly 50 megatons, which is the same amount that the Tsar Bomba, dished out. All right, so 50 megatons of TNT compared with the Minuteman, the U.S. Minuteman III, which fires a maximum payload of 1.425 megatons. According to the CSIS, of equal concern is Russia's hypersonic capacity. All right, so this is another thing too. All right, these is going to be, the missiles is going to be evading the defense systems, the hypersonic missiles, all right, which are able to go, extremely fast. All right, which means it's able to accelerate some missiles faster than Mach 5. That's 3,836 miles per hour on the way to their target. All right, so right now, both Russia and China claims to have missiles with hypersonic capabilities in service. All right, but we hit the key point. All right, that this one missile, all right, and this is just one missile. Okay, each missile, each rocket has the potential of 50 megatons. All right, which is just as enough, just as much power that nation had in 1961. All right, which sent a shockwave, and it was picked up on seismic sensors even on its third round, all right, on its third lap coming across the world. All right, so that it means it was so strong that it sent a shockwave around the world 3 times. Okay, so that's, it's not hard to imagine that these are talking about the missiles. All right, and this is the destructive capabilities of these missiles. All right, so it says the earth shall shake before them. All right, we're going to go into another precept, Book of Revelations, chapter 11, verse 13. All right, and it reads, in the same hour was there a great earthquake. All right, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in an earthquake were slain men 7,000, which 7 represents a complete number of men. All right, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai of heaven. Okay, and that's what is gonna happen. All right, in that same hour. What same hour? When the elect gets delivered, when the elect gets beamed up. All right, as it says in the previous verse, and it reads, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, who's them? The 2 witnesses, which is the elect of the children of Israel. And it says, come up hither, and they ascended to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. All right, so that's the elect being delivered, being beamed up into the chariots. All right, verse 13, and at the same hour, there was a great earthquake. All right, so in the same vicinity, in the same time frame where the elect gets, beamed up, guess what? There was an earthquake, meaning there was that all the missiles, all right, were hitting Babylon. All right, and the elect is going to come out of Babylon. All right, the elect is going to be delivered out of Babylon. That's what salvation mainly, that is the main, what's it called? That is the main, thing concerning salvation. All right, to be delivered from the second death, to be delivered from Jacob's trouble. All right, and it's only for the elect, man. All right, so it says, and in an earthquake were slain of men 7,000. All right, so it's going to be a complete number of people. It's going to be slain. Everyone that was allotted to be destroyed by the second death. Okay, so continuing on, it says to and fro. All right, Salakia, as, oh, that's why. earth. I'm gonna look up drunkard. All right, dang, another church shooting, man. All right, so book of Isaiah, chapter 24, and I'm going to start at verse 18. And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit, and he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. All right, meaning there's no deliverance. No matter what you do, if Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, it hasn't chosen you, if you weren't predestined to be of the elect, all right, the 1/3 remnant, you're going to be destroyed. All right. And it reads, and the earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. All right. And the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. It shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. Okay, and that's going into basically the downfall of this devil, man. All right, because it's a reason why, the Lord has slated, this place to be destroyed with ICBM thermonuclear missiles. It's because of it's because of the wickedness. All right, how it says, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise up again. So this place is going to fall, man. All right, it's the grand and magnificent destruction of this kingdom, which is going to pave the way to our deliverance, to our salvation, to our beginning. As it's written in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob's the beginning of it that followeth. All right, continuing on, and it says, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in prisons, and after many days shall they be visited. All right, now this is talking about, Esau being being put in slavery. All right, but the key point, was basically, brought out, man. All right, how these devils are gonna fall. All right, and that thermonuclear missiles, detonating on this place, that's part of their downfall. All right, and that's what's gonna make the earth reel to and fro like a drunkard, man. It's gonna make the earth shake. All right, and the whole world is going to witness it, because they will have no way not to witness it when the whole world is literally shaking, man. They're gonna know it's Babylon being destroyed. All right, so with that, I'm gonna say, Call halal Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rachah HaKodash for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. All right, with that, I'm gonna say shalom. On to the next.